What was collectivization in the Soviet Union? Imagine a country where farms are no longer owned by individual families, but are part of a big collective effort. That's what happened in the Soviet Union during the late 1920s and early 1930s. The government wanted to change how farming worked across the country. They aimed to replace small, private farms with large, collective farms called Kolkhozes. The idea was to make farming more efficient and support the push for rapid industrial growth. From the start, the Soviet leadership believed that small farms were not enough for a modern socialist society. They thought pooling land, tools, and workers would lead to higher crop yields and a steady food supply. This was seen as essential for building a society where everyone shared resources equally. The government encouraged peasants to join voluntary cooperatives first. But when that didn't happen fast enough, they switched to forced collectivization. The government set strict deadlines for regions to join these large farms. Resistance was met with tough measures. They confiscated grain and livestock from farmers who refused. Wealthier peasants, called kulaks, were targeted because they were seen as enemies of the new system. Many kulaks had their property taken away, and some were deported or imprisoned. The goal was to eliminate class differences in rural areas and create a unified socialist agricultural sector. Collectivization was closely linked to the first five-year plan, which aimed to modernize the entire economy quickly. The government wanted to gather surplus grain at low prices to fund factories and urban development. They believed this would help catch up with Western industrial nations. But the transition was not smooth. Many farms faced poor harvests, and the government's requisitions caused food shortages. Ukraine, in particular, suffered a severe famine known as the Holodomor, which resulted in millions of deaths. Despite these hardships, the official story promoted collectivization as a step toward ending rural poverty and creating a modern, mechanized farming system. The government argued it would bring social benefits like education and healthcare to rural areas, integrating farmers into the socialist project. Over time, collective farms became a permanent part of Soviet agriculture. They symbolized the government's effort to reshape rural life according to socialist ideals. In reality, the process changed rural communities forever. While the state gained more control over food production, agricultural output often declined in the short term. Many farmers lost their land and independence, and social bonds in villages were disrupted. Yet, the Soviet leadership saw collectivization as a necessary move to build a new social order. It was a bold attempt to create a society where resources were shared equally and the economy was planned from the top down. In summary, collectivization in the Soviet Union was a major effort to reorganize farming along socialist lines. It aimed to replace small private farms with large collective ones, increase productivity, and support rapid industrial growth. While it was justified as a way to build a fairer society, it also caused significant suffering and upheaval. Still, it became a key part of the Soviet model of socialism in practice, shaping the country's rural landscape for decades to come.